Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? I just want to do some bed rant. I want to rant about physics for a second. I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I wasn't a physics major or a math major, but I did study it, and I think about it sometimes. Um, Let me just think here. I've been studying that the universe might go in cycles. Like the Big Bang might have been the end of the previous universe and the beginning of our universe, and then when we have a heat death, which was the heat death that came like the heat death of the universe that came before us, there'll be another Big Bang to start the next universe that comes after us. That's a very lot. That's a theory that actually might be true. Um, the you Anything that uses energy, and the total energy goes down. It's second law of thermodynamics. Delta H is greater than zero, meaning entropy always increases in any natural reaction. So entropy is randomness. So randomness always increases naturally over time. That's what time is kind of defined by, in a way. And entropy increasing, randomness increasing, is energy decreasing, because energy is ability to not be random. So as we consumers use energy, each time we do something, we use energy, which brings down the general amount of energy in the universe, which makes the entropy of the universe go up. So every time I do a video, I'm using energy and causing entropy to go up, which is causing the universe to get closer to the heat death that I'm going to explain in a second. But it is my version of it. So you see, we have a certain amount of energy that we start with, and it's the reason why the times you look back to were better, because there was more energy and less entropy, let's say, when I was a kid, than there is now. Just always that way. And eventually the universe, it takes lots of time. Like it'll take, I think it's 10 to the 34th power number of years. That's a lot of years, dude. That's not even trillions. A trillion is like 10 to the 12th. Is that what a trillion is? Let's see, million. Yeah, 10 to the 12th is a trillion. 10 to the 34 power number of years. Finally, the universe will deteriorate. It'll disintegrate or deintegrate, wind down to the point of just being a bunch of black holes. And then those black holes will take 10 to the 100th power. That's a Google years, a Google number of years. A Google is 10 to the 100th power. It's 1 followed by 100 zeros, to finally just disperse to nothingness. Not nothingness, but just static. No time, because time has changed. Time is when entropy increases. Well, entropy can't increase if it's already zero. And things just get stuck, and time just gets, there is no time for a long time. And it takes a long time to get there. But finally, the universe does a paradox. It does a flip that it can do, because it's funny that way. The universe can take the infinite nothingness that is a heat death, and just in a split second change that into a zero mass infinite energy point. And then when that energy comes back up again, that's called the Big Bang. You have Big Bang heat death, Big Bang heat death, Big Bang heat death, and then one universe after another. The universe, energy can't die. You get that from physics. There's conservation of energy. There's all these things that make it. Once we're here, once there's a universe, there always will be a universe. The universe, you can't. Well, first of all, nothing doesn't really exist, because how do you define nothing? What would be nothing if there is no nothing anyway? But once you have something, it always will exist in one form or another. That's physics. Matter can be converted to energy, and energy back to matter, but still, once you have one or the other, you always have one or the other. You don't ever lose completely. It just changes form. And the universe is such. It just takes a long, long time. Eventually, like I said, it will have a heat death. Within that heat death will just cause an implosion. Like it'll go from a infinite infinitely big zero energy thing to an infinitely small infinite energy thing. It's just a matter of flipping the variables, and then all of a sudden you have a micro point with infinite energy, and there starts another universe. Question is, do we live through that, or what happens to us, and whatever? It's interesting. I probably can't cover all of it, and but I can discuss it. I can do that much, right? Human beings. Well, first of all, we live at the very early stage of life in this universe. You guys get that? Like, there's not much life in the universe. Not because life can't exist. That's narcissistic to think, or whatever it is to think. It's not correct. But it's just early in this universe's lifespan for life to exist. Give it a few trillion years or whatever the large number is, it'll be life all over. But we are in the new. This universe is very new, very young. We shouldn't even exist. And on multiple fronts, we shouldn't even exist in astronomical terms on every front, where we shouldn't even exist. We're here early, and we're here amid astronomical coincidences having to be fulfilled to be here. And not only that, we're here early. We're on the early stages. We're the morning of this universe as far as life goes. We're one of the first lives probably in the universe. This universe is only 13.8 billion years old. That's very young for a universe. And the coincidences that had to be overcome. I think there's 46 variables in physics, which is interesting because there's 46 chromosomes in the human DNA. They're paired into 23 pairs. That's why it's called 23andMe when you go do your DNA. There's also 46 constants in physics that if they were even microscopically off, any one of those 46 constants, none of us would be here. And just there's things that if gravity, for instance, was off by even just a slight fraction, no, either one way or the other, one direction or the other. In one direction, no matter would exist. In another direction, no coherence of the matter would exist. And I heard the term is a trillionth of a percent is the error tolerance that we're dealing with, that we had to be within to even get a chance to be here. A trillionth of a percent. That's almost zero. That means we almost shouldn't even be here. Within a trillionth of 1% odds against us even being here. So the fact that we even exist is already an anomaly. But it's more than that. It's more than just an anomaly. Everything we do ripples through time like the butterfly effect. Every thought I have, every action I take, it creates an energy that or something that will go propagate through the universe forever. And the point isn't living forever, because we always will exist in some form or another. We are conscious. That doesn't go anywhere. It just changes form. So get over that if you can. But every time I make an action, I'm defying entropy. I'm making entropy go down instead of up every time I do something creative. And that already is a victory. Even if I only live here a couple hundred years or 100 years or whatever. It's not how long I lived. It's the things I did while I was alive are irreversible, therefore immortal, and no one else could have done them but me, because I'm unique. Talk about pressure. No one else can do what I'm doing. What I do will last forever in some form or another. If no matter or energy can go away, no action cannot have a consequence. If I go like that, that just affected the universe forever. And I can't even take it back. But I do that every day. Every day. And we don't know, because we're not the ultimate brain. We don't, no one of us knows exactly what action any one of us will take that will be the most important action ever done. You don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of things at stake in human beings. Early on in the lifespan of life in this universe, if we destroy ourselves, we just cooked this part of the universe for life forever. See what's at stake, and we have three basic enemies I've kind of studied that could end us, which would actually shut down this part of the universe for life, for a long time, if not forever. It's a lot of pressure on us. First of all is nuclear warfare. Second of all is artificial intelligence, and third of all is engineered viruses. Those are the three ways of annihilation. If we annihilate ourselves, we're blinding an eye of the universe that won't get its sight back. Either maybe forever, or maybe it'll just take another bill. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly whether another if someone else will come, another Earth will come in this section of the universe, and we'll populate, and we'll try it again. I'm not sure we have it that easy, though. I don't think we have it that lucky. I think it's more like if we blow it, there's no one else no one else. It'll be irreparable damage to the universe and the function of life in this universe if we destroy ourselves. In fact, we're doing it fast, and the choice of whether we do it or not will come fast, probably next 100 years, maybe. There's a principle that says it's that which has been around a long time tends to stay around longer than that which has not been around a long time. We haven't been around that long, but a lot of our devices haven't been around that long, and a lot of our technology hasn't been around that long, and a lot of it won't stay alive because it hasn't been alive very long. AI has been what, around 10 years. It can't. There's a lot of things that we just don't want to destroy ourselves, okay? And we don't know in a different way. It's not about or Biden. It's do we survive as human race? You know, and we don't know. I don't know whether Biden's going to do that or not do that, and Trump's going to do that or not do that. I like Trump myself, but I'm just saying, in principle, we don't know. We are all in this together. We all want the human race to survive so that development of life in this section of the universe can continue rather than be obliterated by our non-existence. The only thing that's going to destroy ourselves is ourselves, because that's war, that's destroying ourselves. AI, that's something we made, which is still destroying ourselves indirectly. It's still destroying ourselves because we made AI. And engineered viruses, which is self-destruction because we engineered the viruses. Will we destroy ourselves or not? Big question. Up to, or if it is up to somebody or not somebody, what about what that somebody does or doesn't do is going to cause it or not cause it to us to live or not? We don't know that. We don't know the big plan. We don't have the big answer. Doesn't mean there isn't one. So there's that. Maybe I'm just ranting, but I like to rant. Anything else I want to say here? I think the model is there's a number. They did a test on a number, and it came out a certain thing. I think the number came with the 1.75 or something. That's a bad situation. If this number of whatever they tested were a certain value, we would be stable because we would be at they call it vacuum. Vacuum is zero, the lowest thing they can get. Vacuum isn't nothing. Vacuum is just the lowest state of something. And vacuums are stable because they're at the lowest possible state. So if we were in a vacuum state as a race, as a human race, as a race of species, we would be stable because we would be in the bottom of a hole, and with the lowest possible state. Yet here we are, and we would be stable. On the other hand, if we were hot, if that value was a different direction than 1.75, we would be unstable, but we would know about it. Like we would see the instability. Maybe we would see, oh, we're on top of a hill. We better watch out because we could fall off that hill, but we can still see where we are. But the value is in between those two states, which means we're in the middle of a ledge, like a cliff, and we're just hanging on the end of it. That's what the analogy is for the human race. if we get toppled off the edge, we don't just stay where we are. We collapse to a vacuum that's below us, and yet we're not high enough to know that we're where we are and know that we're okay and see that we're on a ledge. So we're in a precarious position, but there's hope, and there's hope and there's goodness, because there's such a thing as time doesn't just flow in one direction, because neither does entropy. Entropy can be reversed. Entropy can go down, and it actually turns out, at least there's theories about it, that and it's pretty good theories too, that the future affects the present just like the past does. Did you ever think of that? That the past determines right now the present, and the present determines the future. It's not that simple, nor is that true. The future affects the present, and so does as the past affects the present. But the future, what I do right now is partly because of what I'm going to do, not just what I've already done. I don't really have true free will. It just seems like it. They've proven some of this. The after observer effect. Things collapse and become something they weren't before when they're observed. But the catch is that they don't have to be observed right then. They can be observed later, which will affect the way it was back then, which means the future observation affected the present, which was then, which was before said observation. Future version of me could bump its hand, and then I'm going to do something to end up bumping my hand. Not because I used to have a hand to bump, but because my hand's going to get bumped in the future, I'm going to have to do something that ends up bumping my hand, which is going to affect what I do right now. So the future affects the present just like the past does. We just don't know the future because it's a higher entropy state. We have more energy than we'll have in the future. We don't see that yet, but it does affect us right now. So watch what you do. Watch what you're going to do. You know. But yeah, just the question isn't as far as when we beat entropy, we defy entropy every time we do something. And even though we die in this particular life, that isn't the point. The point is I defied entropy so many times in my life that I made a difference, and a difference that will never be undone, and a difference that no one else could have done. This version of me will eventually stop defying entropy, but nothing will stop that I have defied entropy for all this time that I've been me. Which still means I still, even if I didn't live with my consciousness, which I will, even if I would still live through what I had done, and that would still immortalize me as far as what I did, even if I didn't exist in any form after this life, which I will. So we're off the hook, but then we're right back on the hook because we have a lot of responsibility for what we do. You know, responsibility for what we did, you know, and all that. And this is wind down this talk a little bit. I'm almost done, I think. I hope. You hope. About the universe. You know, the universe, it turns out the math says that the universe doesn't care about morality. And that's nihilism, but it lets us off a big hook. It means that we are free to write our own morality. If you think something is moral, then it's moral for you. If I don't, it's not for me. There's no universal good or universal evil. The universe just is. And that indifference gives us freedom. If I want to solve Riemann hypothesis or try to be Eddie Van Halen. That's my choice. The universe doesn't care. But it also means I am free to do what I want because the universe doesn't care. But it's still a responsibility on me what I choose. It doesn't mean I get to do nothing, or what I do doesn't matter, or whatever, because everything matters. It's just that I get to write my own ticket when it comes to what matters for me. Because of an indifferent universe, it's actually constructive nihilism. The nihilism says the universe doesn't care, but that automatically then gives us the power to make our own destiny and write our own story, write our own book. And you can't take mine away, and I can't take yours away. God, I wouldn't want to try to do that, LOL. And then on the other hand, we're all in this together because we all want the human race to survive. I hope. Something that, that's what would be best. If some people don't want that, then they don't want what's best. I do, but whatever. Another thing here, maybe just one more thing. Am I done, or should I rant a little more? What do you guys think? And in some way, the universe gets traumatized by the universe before it, or maybe it just gets complicated. But our universe can be traumatized, and our universe was traumatized. I don't want to go into it completely, but the universe is one mind. It's not God, it's one mind. And when the universe got traumatized, it got dissociative identity disorder into all of us. We're all the universe, just a different personality of it. We are the mental illness of the universal mind. Humans are God's schizophrenia. If God is the universe is one mind. We're all separate minds. We're all schisms. We're all personalities that are broken away. What do they call that? Yeah, we're all different identities of the universe. Each one of us is the whole universe, just a different identity of it. When the universe got traumatized, it decided that part of it will be me. So when I'm talking, I'm the universe, but the universe is me. When you're talking, the universe, it can't make up its mind. The universe is crazy, schizophrenic, or dissociative identity disorder. Now the universe is you. The universe is all of us, but we're all the universe, but we're all different identities of the universe. Kind of lets us off the hook, but then right back on it again, because I'm important then. What I do matters if I am the universe, just a different personality than you. You're important, so am I. If I hit you, I just hit myself, because you're part of the same mind that I'm a part of. If I had dissociative identity disorder and I cut my hand as Mark, Ed, the other part of me, would still get cut too. I don't have Ed and Mark, but whatever. Just an example. I'm still me. If I hit you, I'm hitting myself. That's why hate doesn't work. You're hating yourself through someone else. I try not to do it, but I'm not perfect either. I don't want to hate Andy McKnight, and I don't think I do, but I could work on that, couldn't I? He's just another identity, personality of the universe like I am. If I hit Andy McKnight, I just smack myself too, just in a different way. I don't want to do that, and it doesn't lead to the human race surviving. It leads to I just punch myself in the face. I just did it through hitting someone else. That's why peace, love, and rock and roll is a good thing, I think. I mean, it's just my philosophy, but that's what I think, and I try to give good energy. I try not to hate those that hate me. See, I'm not a believer in literal God. And I'm not a believer in Jesus Christ as Savior. But I believe that the universal mind can be called God, just isn't the classical God people think of it as. And Jesus Christ didn't save me, but he taught me. Isn't that just as good? teaching me how to think and how to do things and how to live. Isn't that which is really more important? Save my ass from hell individually so I don't have to burn like you will, or teaching me how to be more like him, whether that's even if, you know, whatever that means for me. And I see people doing, just trying to get out of hell, but I don't know, I don't want to judge people, but that's, to me, that's how I see it. The Bible is nothing more than, to me, if it has any good in it, and any value in it, it's just a how-to manual for maybe how to think better and act better and be a better person, maybe. But if you don't do that with it, if you just say, well, I'm going to pray to Jesus and confess him as Savior and forgive my sins, if that's all you do, the Bible didn't work for you. You did the cop-out just to get out of hell for yourself. And now you're free to do whatever the fuck you want because Jesus saved you, right? What if he didn't? What if you end up in hell anyway? What if there is no heaven? What if the Bible isn't true? Then you're screwed. In my view, I learned how to live like Jesus if I could. If that isn't true, it didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt me to try to be more like Jesus. That doesn't seem like it could hurt me, because I'm not. It's not just fire insurance for number one, Jimmie. It's how can Jimmie be a better human being so the universe can be better. Anyway, love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.